All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of LunarCrush Live. Super excited today. We've got Mark, we've got Jennifer. We're going to be talking about crowdfunding a film. We're going to learn a bunch of new stuff. You know, we're normally on here talking crazy social insights on different cryptocurrencies. And today, John and I think get to learn some fun stuff. Just a reminder from everyone, you know, our disclaimer, we don't take payment for our live stream. We bring on cool, fun people who are contributing their lives to this industry, that have dedicated themselves. You know, get in there if you want to ask some questions across Twitter today. Make sure you slam that subscribe button. That's what it says right here. We've got some pretty fun ones coming up for you. We're going to have Ciara from Hobie talking about listings, Holoplex talking about creating your own NFT studios. We've got, who else? I think we've got Star Atlas coming up too. Super stoked to have those guys on.
Love it.
Yeah, that's going to be a great one. So without further ado, let's bring them up here. Mark, Jennifer, how are you guys today?
Good. How are you?
Oh, we're fantastic. We're hanging out here in Southern California, a little overcast, but you know, 'tis this time of year. We always like to start, you know, and ask you guys, you know, who you are, where you are in the world, and what's it like there. Maybe Jennifer, we can start with you.
Sure. And I'm in New York, and it's a beautiful. I don't know if you can see it. It's a beautiful fall day out here.
Oh, lucky.
Changing.
Nice.
I love the season, so I'm very happy being here today. And there was another part of that question. Who am I?
Yeah, who are you?
Just a chick. No. I'm an actor. Been an actor for a long time, and soon to be. I've been a writer as well, and I'm soon to be directing my first feature. So I think why we're here to talk about how we're going to do that.
Yes. Well, congratulations, and we're gonna get to that. And then Mark, who are you? Where are you in the world? What's it like there?
I'm like Jen. I'm here in New York, and the weather is absolutely fantastic today for a fall day for New York. I am the founder of a company called Upstream. We are the first and only national securities exchange in the world powered by the blockchain. So we do crypto and digital IPOs, all tokenized. We do NFTs, all in a compliant regulatory manner, and we are working with Jen. We have created the ability for the first time ever to do a film financed purely by the blockchain, allowing fans to be a part of an exciting movement.
That's amazing. Great. It's great to hear. That. Yeah, great to hear that.
So exciting.
We talk about, you know, just compliance a lot on our, you know, podcast. You know, it's kind of crazy. You know, you think you get into this space and you know, it's all clear and it's all concise what you need to do, but it's really not. And it's just kind of in this wild, wild west. And it takes people that are willing to kind of move over to that side and get into that dirty work to help kind of lead the rest of the industry forward. So I'd love to hear a little bit, Mark, about how you got into the industry and why you went down that path.
Yeah, so unlike a lot of other people out there, we're actually experts. We didn't say so on LinkedIn. You know, it's unfortunate that we have found in the world that a lot of our competitors, a lot of people out there use technology to replace regulation. We use technology to enhance it. So I've been on Wall Street now for about 30 years, and we've been focusing on building a compliant regulatory environment that mimics the US stock market. We are, as I mentioned, a national securities exchange. We are part of an affiliate of what's called the World Federation of Exchanges. 250 of them around the world, including the New York, NASDAQ, Hong Kong, Tokyo, London, all the major exchanges. So to the DeFi world, people probably don't like us too much because we do KYC and AML and we follow all the rules and regulations. But that's really important to investors and issuers because we operate in a manner where investor protection and disclosure is key, because investors need to be able to transact in a safe, secure environment and know that they're buying product that's actually real. You know, this is not a squid coin or something like that that just vanishes. It's an actual regulated marketplace. So it's also important for companies like Jen and other celebrities that we work with. Our partners are Pitbull and Timbaland. And these are the type of celebrities that need to know that they're transacting in a safe environment, that dealing with the nefarious bad world. And that's one of the exciting things about working with Jen and her group, is she came up with this amazing idea, which she'll tell you about, on how to create the ability for fans to be a part of movies and actually have the Hollywood benefit, but in a manner that incentivizes fans first, where investors get 110% of their money back first, and then they own 25% of the back end. So it's truly democratizing the way finance is done for the film industry and for Hollywood. But using our exchange, it's done in a compliant manner where investors can use dollars, cryptocurrency in the form of the USDC stablecoin, and they can also invest as using credit cards and PayPal and debit cards.
And that's a wrap, folks. No,
Sorry,
that was great. That was
you got
great.
me excited because it's truly
it's awesome. So how did this come together? How did the collaboration come together? And why not just finance this film traditionally?
So many reasons. I created the story from personal things I saw in my own life and growing up, and been in the business obviously a very long time, and knew that a female director, first-time female director, writer, was going to have some trouble getting funding. And also the fact that my script was predominantly female. And the other thing was that I'm taking a beloved genre, which is the mafia genre, and I'm flipping it and showing the females in the genre, which we've never seen before. So I knew I had a few hurdles. And I also knew that people knew me as an actor, and you get pigeonholed in this business as you can do that, and that's it, and that's the box we're going to keep you in. And I never felt comfortable with that. So when I first went to a streamer, I sat with a female executive, and she told me, "You're absolutely right." She said, "I love the script, and I love you making it." She said, "But you're going to need to get a big male lead to get money." And I just thought, that's pretty incredible. And what year? And when I went further, it actually went so deep as to our union, SAG, implemented something called a diversity incentive. And basically what that is you will get financial incentives to put 50% diversity in your cast. The first diversity listed is women. And I was blown away. I really was blown away. So I went on this journey to try and figure out, because I'm very much an advocate for equality and equal pay, and I've been at the rallies and all of that, and I thought, tweeting something and standing there with a sign and saying this isn't fair isn't really going to move or shift anything. So my first idea was to really tell people what goes on, because I don't think people really understand that it really does take a popular man to greenlight a film.
Wow.
And at least half of the population won't be happy about that. So
right.
I thought, you know what, maybe crowdfunding. And I came upon two producers that had the same ideas and love of, creating a different road. And but they weren't thrilled with the idea of crowdfunding at the time. And so we went and we did find some people that wanted to back us, and we have some money to make the film, but it was going to be a very low budget, very difficult. And then a lawyer friend of mine introduced me to Mark and said, "I think you guys should speak." And it blew my mind, because it was the crowdfunding idea that I had, but on steroids. And I'm a very crypto head, and I love the whole background of what crypto is and what crypto really means, and the power to the everyday person. And I thought, this is it. This is an alternative road to not only make a different road for funding, but it's a road that for voices that don't get heard. And another way to get to the people, so they become your partner, essentially, so that the big corporations aren't the ones making the big money. It's the film and the filmmaker and the people that supported you. And that, to me, is changing not only the industry, it's changing the landscape of our world.
Yeah. And you said that, or real
Jennifer,
quick,
that's go ahead.
Yeah. Just real quick, because you just said something. You said I don't want to be put into that box, and it's like that. You're a crypto nerd with the rest of us now. Like that. That is the thing.
She's being modest. She trades all the time. She knows exactly what she's doing.
Ooh.
She's a pro.
I honestly, I love crypto. Like, I'm really not just, and when I speak to people that aren't in it, I like go through the whole spiel.
Yeah.
Like you don't understand. And you know, listen, there's of course the technology of what Ethereum, block, all of it is. But when I get down to the bottom line, I say, just think about it this way. It's taking the control of your money into your own hands, that people to be able to access wealth where they never would have been able to in our society. That to me is enormous. That to me is something that is far bigger than the money itself. And that's what we're looking to do, is create another avenue in an industry that is so antiquated in the way that they do things. And it's not changing anytime soon. And God bless. Hey, listen, we're not banging anyone over the head to say change this. We're giving an alternative route here. So that to me, like I said, because to me, I really believe that, you know, Hollywood has a big responsibility on its hands of, like, it shapes our culture. Whether we want to believe it or not, it shapes our culture. We've grown up seeing certain stereotypes. We've grown up seeing that, you know, women over a certain age are kind of put out to pasture. We're grown up seeing that ethnicity is usually the villain. We are taught this, and it becomes this subliminal, subconscious, and that's how we live our lives, and we see our neighbors, and we see ourselves. And, you know, I don't think that responsibility should be left up to one group of people.
Yeah, but Jen, you're also taking it a step further. You're letting fans now actually participate in your success.
Absolutely.
And the beauty of what we built, guys, is that this is a stock exchange. So it's digital, it's a token, but it's actually ownership in the film, that if an investor buys it and Jen starts doing everything we hope she's going to do and win the awards and go on to the festival circuit, the value of those shares are going to go up, and investors can buy more or they can sell. And if they stay with it, they get a return on their investment, and then they also get the ability to get the back end residuals for life. So it's truly democratizing the film industry and allowing equal access to everybody for as little as $25.
So on that note, you're saying that the ownership becomes more of a liquid asset as opposed to just a few people owning everything. How does the profits and everything, is that like a dividend for the shareholders, and how does that get distributed?
Absolutely a dividend, yeah. So so this is truly a security, and this is the part that separates our platform from everyone else around the world. As I mentioned, we're a stock exchange. We're built to design to create liquidity and allow investors to have equity ownership. So a lot of the tokens that we see around the world are utility in function. This is a security in function. So it allows ownership. So dividends, as the film makes money, it's paid into the exchange, and it's paid out just like a dividend on Apple or Microsoft. And then investors can buy and sell and decide whether that they've had enough and they want out, or if an investor missed the opportunity at the first time, they can come in and buy it in the secondary market. So there's no restrictive period for international investors. Unfortunately, under the securities law in the US, if anybody participates, they do have to hold it for 12 months. But outside the US, this is a real IPO. It's real securities, real liquidity.
And wow, so you're issuing this security. People are going to come in, they're going to purchase that, and then they're getting kind of dividends out there, and it's getting traded in the secondary market.
Yeah, so we're an actual stock exchange, so it's just like trading on the New York or NASDAQ. And the beauty is, because we're actually an exchange, in theory, in time, we could actually relist these securities back in the United States onto the OTC. But initially, it's traded on our app, which is called Upstream, and you can download it from the app stores. And it's a light touch KYC. You come in, and then an investor can fund their account, as I mentioned, using PayPal or a credit card or debit card. But it's designed to look and mimic like Robinhood or E-Trade or Fidelity, but it's truly it's basically crypto for dummies. And I hate to say it that way, but not everybody understands how to deal with going and transferring cash to Coinbase and using Metamask and all the different things to change to ETH. They just want to be able to hit buy and hit sell. And that's what we were able to build. So underneath it, it's an amazing blockchain-based, completely immutable, transparent, but on the surface, it looks like you're buying or selling an ETH stock.
Very cool. Because I mean, at the end of the day, there's still more users in this traditional market that understand how to do what you just said versus saying like, hey, I'm going to put some money into MetaMask, just fund this random account and hope the smart contract pays me out. You know, when Jennifer makes cool dolls for the, you know, or whatever she's going to create. Like, so what happens to that stuff too? It's if you create, do they own the IP in this film, or are they just
own everything? So
okay.
So Jen's business is called Fresh Kills Inc. So all the profits from the film, and we'll talk about something really cool that Jen came up with too, with an inclusion NFT. But one thing you just said there, it's interesting, the whole MetaMask. So being that we're an exchange and being that we're regulated, the cash is actually insured. So investors get $250,000 of FDIC insurance on all their deposits for cash. And that might be something that we're used to here in the US, but globally, that's a foreign concept to actually have. So we've seen these horror stories where these kind of pop-up exchanges around the world disappear and everybody loses their cash. Cash is insured here because, as I said, it's a full regulated marketplace.
It's amazing. I'd love to come back to something so big that Jennifer was talking about earlier. And you were talking about having, you know, a male lead, a male director, and you couldn't get funding, you know, in the traditional method unless that was in place. I'd like, I guess, there's two questions. You know, what is causing that? And I'd say, like, you know, this new model of fundraising, how do you see it more inclusive towards women?
What is causing that is the guards, the guards at the door, so to speak. They've been the same. They are the same. It is one group that, you know, that it's worked. It's worked. This has worked. You know, they still insist on saying that female-driven films don't bring in box office money, and you can go on freshkillsfilm.com and see all the statistics that talk against that. It's a level of control. It just is. I mean, we can ask that of Hollywood, but we can ask that of the world. We can ask that of politics. So, I mean, it's everywhere. We have learned how to live a certain way in this country, in our society, and those are the rules, and people have problems with change and letting go of the control and letting go of the reins, and then it also becomes about money, you know. And like I said, how many times we've heard that female films do not open box office weekends. They don't. That isn't true. That isn't true. So it's constantly having to beat down the doors, but like, and until those guards at the doors change, things aren't changing. So our idea was to have another road, another avenue, because like I said, you can't keep begging, pleading, rioting, picketing, you know, please change, please. Why? It's exhausting on everybody's mental health and world, and just create a new alternative. Now with blockchain, with the internet, people have the ability to go a different direction. We don't need to keep begging to be seen. We don't. Go this way. And Mark has given us that advantage here to be able to bridge that gap to the people so that we can both make a living out of creating art and show that we want female-driven films and we want diverse films that look like the world, look like our neighbors, look like everyone. And I truly believe this is the future. It's just getting over this. You know, it's like when the internet came out, you know, people are like, oh my God, what is this? And cell phone, like, oh, a BlackBerry now. It's like, we have the phone with, you know, I think, Mark, you were saying this yesterday, the phone with, you know, it has just the screen. Where are the buttons? Like, you know, we out over everything that's kind of new. And this is that. So we have the great challenge and the great beauty and excitement of being first at doing this.
Jen, you also did something really cool. You created NFTs around it that allow people fan participation, where fans can buy NFTs, and this is open to everyone, and they can get perks and be able to walk the red carpet, come to the wrap party, get a copy of the script, and some lucky fans will even get to be in the movie. So you're
Yeah.
truly
wow.
taking the fans and you're making them brand ambassadors and a part of your whole concept and film.
And that's the thing with the NFT space. Like, crypto is one thing, then the NFT space is a whole other thing. And when Mark told me, when we would have these conversations about bringing it to the people, and then I heard in the United States it was only the accredited people, and I thought, well, that's awful. How do we can't, you know, say the people, but only a certain amount of people who are making a certain amount of money. So we created these NFTs, and it's from this amazing, we found a wonderful female NFT artist, award-winning artist from Madrid. Her name is Gala Marissa, and she read the script and created NFTs based on the script. And like Mark said, you can get involved with us for $25. So everybody can become a part of this. You can, you know, hold on to the NFTs. And this, as you know, we haven't even announced our cast. Every time this movie grows, that NFT will become more and more, you know, something of a collector's item. Hold on to it. You can trade it. And the more we grow as a film and move out into, you know, being seen and going to festivals, this becomes bigger and bigger and greater. And we ride that ride together. And like Mark said, there are even, you know, we even have a raffle where if you can only get in for $25, your name is going to be put into a raffle to pick out, and you will wind up on set with me, being able to say a line. Like, there is something for everyone here, because I wanted to make it as inclusive as possible. We're also so dedicated to pushing the narrative of female-driven films meaning something forward that we're giving 5% back to the next female-driven film that comes behind us.
Wow. It's super cool. I mean, you guys I like the model because it's like you're kind of towing the line at all the spots, like as far as raising money, still bringing in the community from the NFT side, you know, at least, you know, in the US. And it's like those rules will change, and like you're set up to kind of follow that when that comes out. But this is what crypto does. Like, it democratizes opportunity. It moves the power pendulum closer to the creator. And over time, that just is going to happen over and over and on a larger scale. Right. And like, if you guys did a $3.5 million movie, like, I guarantee you could do a $50 million movie.
100.
Right. I guarantee you can do a bigger movie. And it's, you know, it's like, and I'm hoping that, and I don't know much about, like, you know, filmmaking at all, but, you know, anyone can see, like, you know, I love the Avengers movies, but do we need like an Avengers 21? Like, do we need a Spider-Man 29? Like, there's no original stories that I feel it's very difficult, I feel like, and maybe you could tell us, to get those things greenlit, because it's like, hey, unless it makes an entire boatload of money, it's not feasible. But this gives, you know, maybe opens up a new avenue.
And that's exactly it. And when Mark and I started speaking, I said, Mark, you do realize that once we go out with this, you're going to get inundated by and I was right. And I mean, from huge, who don't need this, huge companies. I get it. This is a new way of doing things. Everybody wants to get in. But I begged, please always keep a space for the smaller film. Because if you look at the films that blew us away in the last couple of years, they were not these huge films. They were these, look at Parasite. Parasite wasn't even from this country. It was a brilliantly made film. There's no one you knew in there.
Yeah.
And in our language, like it was fantastic. It's those small movies. Nomadland. It's one woman literally being a nomad through life. Like, she won the Oscar. Why? Because those are the stories that mean something to us on a human level. If we don't have that, I don't know where and what we become. We need that human quality to still exist, especially with everything that's going on. And we're going to get into a metaverse universe now. Mm-hmm. I mean, we need the human connection and human content that makes us remember who we are, and that we all are pretty much the same person. So we need to have that content, and there needs to be a space for it. And there needs to be a place that people can go and choose. I want to see this, and be able to get to the people to be able to fund it. and then you can go and make money together. But I think it's very hard, like you said, if your last movie, sorry, if you're didn't make $1 billion, you're not making another one, you know. So it's very difficult for smaller movies to.
But the smaller movies have made a lot of money. I mean, there's you know, the disclaimer, we don't know if that's going to happen here, but we're the way it's been designed and the budget's only $3.5 million. That with streaming and everything that's changed, there's an exit strategy that's almost predefined. But you look at Moonlight, they produced it for $4 million. It grossed over $65 million in return. And there's another Call Me by Your Name, $3.4 million, $42 million return. And the big one, Whiplash, was $3 million with a $50 million return. And Jen, you were in Crash. You know, that was a low budget, and it did fantastic.
Amazing. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be this big movie star to matter, and matter financially, but also matter as far as content. The little movies are really the ones that have the ability to be able to make, you know, a lot of money on the back end, because they're doing them, you know, and they're not paying some star $20 million. So there is a real benefit of getting involved with a smaller film.
Yep. I mean, this fits exactly into what happens with crypto and these smaller projects that people don't know about. And it's just a small crew of people that, you know, their big idea didn't get taken by some huge VC firm. Right. And so they go and they do something similar like you guys are doing, but from a crowdsource perspective, and the little guy makes out on it and their story gets told. Right. And it's kind of the same thing. It's like frequency matters in this. And it's like, hey, you can do 1,000 of these now. And all these new stories are getting told, and all these individual kind of communities are gravitating towards them, and they get to follow them and be a fan for life. And, you know, we never had that opportunity before.
Exactly. That's why I love this whole movement. I think it's, you know, and it's scary to a lot of people because, again, it's change, but especially if you're an artist, it's like you really have to know what's happening in this space.
But you're also, Jen, one thing to add, the whole idea of democratization, and I'm staying on that topic because you're using, if we look at this from a finance standpoint, when you're bringing in the crowd to be your brand ambassadors, it creates additional value for the end buyer of the movie because they know they've got the built-in audience. And one of the things that we built at Upstream that's really cool technology is any image can be loaded by any user of our technology and created into an NFT in 18 seconds. So we're able to take Jen live on set where she's filming, and she's able to take the script or take a scene that she's doing, something behind the scenes where to us who are in the film industry, it's really cool to be on set and see how these things are. To her, it's just boring. But from that standpoint, that image can be created into an NFT and auctioned off immediately to anybody who's using the app and has an account. So it's really modernizing as this convergence between not only the movie at the end of the shoot, but being a part of the movement and being a part of the film as it's being created real time.
So from an investor's perspective, you know, as they invest in these securities and you're using the Ethereum blockchain, how does that play into it? Is there more of a, do they feel stronger about transparency? They can understand what's going on. What exactly are they seeing on the blockchain?
Yeah, so we've designed it to be that there's no layering, spoofing, gaming, market manipulation, none of the things that we saw in the US stock market related to GameStop or the whole thing that was going on in the market last year. So the beauty of the blockchain is it's transparent. You can see everything. It's designed, our market is best bid, best offer. There's no market makers taking inventory and manipulating the stock either up or down. There's no short selling. The other thing that it's designed to do is that we are a layer 2, so there's no gas fees. You know, most people don't even understand when they start getting in this whole NFT world, when they go in and buy it, they find out how much the gas is associated with it. There's none of that. Investors can buy and sell in our marketplace for 1%. That's it. And they're able to then, as I said, exit. But the beauty of the blockchain, it's here in the US, so the US stock market is a T2 settlement, which means you buy today and you get your money 2 days later, trade plus 2, and then it settles. The blockchain makes it instantaneous. So if you were a buyer, you'd own it immediately. And if you were selling it, you could put your money back into your account the next morning. It's right there available for you. So that, I think, is really the key, that it's the speed, transparency. And as I said, investor protection from a disclosure standpoint, because that's something that's also important to know. Gen is a corporation. This is a business. So it will report every 6 months, the financials, the growth. There'll be transparency of disclosure where investors can make informed decisions based upon the financial progress of the company. So it's not hidden. So investors will actually have access to information and use that information to make a decision whether to buy or sell or not get involved at all.
So those investors get transparency around the fundraising portion of this, which is amazing, by the way. That's awesome to hear. And in this corporation, ends up having, I guess my next question would be, how does distribution work in this model? And then is there anything on the blockchain around distribution as well with this corporation?
Absolutely. So the blockchain is the ability to purchase and have transparency. But in order to make this work, you need to have payment rails. And as a regulated stock exchange, we have payment rails. So capital, when Gen makes a dividend, the dividend is paid into the exchange and it's paid out to all investors. So if an investor used cash to buy, they're going to receive a cash dividend. If they used USDC stablecoin, and that's the cryptocurrency that we take currently, because you can't have the gyrations with Bitcoin and ETH, you need something that's stable. We're able to transact back to you that way. So all investors actually have an account with either cash or stablecoin in it, and they're able to receive those dividends. So twice a year, 4 times a year, depending on whatever that dividend policy will be, investors will be able to receive that cash in. And as the film starts to produce and doing well, that dividend frequency will probably increase, and investors will get that cash. They can use it to buy other things, or they can take it out and spend it on whatever they want. There's no restrictive period.
I'm just imagining
it's truly the stock market, but designed to be in a transparent manner.
I'm just imagining if you took a bunch of random cryptocurrencies as payment, it's like, all right, Jennifer, you've got 3.5 million, 3.1, 3.7, 3.4.
That we can't do.
Yeah, no, it's so you can get USDC and you can contribute. You move it into the exchange. You KYC, light KYC on the exchange, and then so right now it's just this project that you guys are working on. But in the future, as there's more projects coming down, I can kind of just search through the app and be like, I want to invest in here, here, here. Or what about a basket of productions?
Yeah.
Can I do that as well?
Good idea.
Yeah. So actually, the exchange just came live a week ago after 3 years in the making.
Congrats.
Becoming a regulated marketplace is not easy. We can pop up and be an unregulated marketplace, but actually to go through a full regulation. Jen, was the pioneer with us. She was one of the first, but we have numerous large offerings ranging anywhere from size to Jen's at 3.5 million all the way to well over $100 million IPOs that will be coming over the next few weeks. We are partnered with major music stars and other celebrities that Jen has introduced us to. And all of these offerings are going to be coming out to allow fans to be able to participate. We've created the ability to monetize music royalties, to allow fans to have almost very similar to what we're doing with Jen. It's called play to pay. So every time you play a song, you get paid. It's democratizing all aspects of fan engagement and allowing these celebrities like Jen, who've become this great success, to give back to the community and allow them to participate and be side by side rather than being on a pedestal. It's the fans made all these actors, musicians, entertainers a success. Now they're all giving back.
It's a direct to consumer model.
Exactly.
Right? Like, I mean, and everyone wonders why a lot of these celebrities that are out there are buying these NFTs for $100 million or whatever else it may be, but because they respect that creator. And, now that all of those folks are sitting, and there's a lot of money sitting in the cryptocurrency space right now, and that money needs to go somewhere. And they want to reinvest it. And this is I feel like it's an amazing outlet, to have something that's going to pay dividends and is part of something that could live. And, it's like, I imagine if you Star Wars, like if you had a piece of Star Wars at the beginning, you'd freak out. So like, if this is the world that we get to live in, it's going to be so much more fun.
that's how I feel. I mean, I really, not only can people come along for the ride making a film, I mean, if you think about the, you know, the days of sitting back and in a movie theater and the smell of popcorn, there's such beauty in that. And now with Netflix and all that, there's still such beauty in going on a journey that you couldn't go on, or is totally magical, and getting away from reality. And that's what art is. And it can be a way where it can be beautiful and it can make money, because usually in the space of, for the artist, someone who's creating something, you know, it could be bought from you and you don't see a dime. And the people that bought it are making the money. Now we can, the artist can make the money, and the people that support you, instead of the go-between in the center who may be putting the money up, and either party, you know, they don't get anything. So it's a completely different way to look at the future. Like you said, it's direct to consumer.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer, on that direct to consumer, how do you see the distribution of your film? Where do you see that going?
I mean, listen, we're going to go the same way we would. You know, we do have a streamer already interested in it, but we'd really like to, you know, go do the festivals. We want to go out there, because the difference is now we'll have a community of people who are supporting us already.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. I mean, you can't buy that. You really, it's wonderful. You have people behind you that want it to succeed, because if it succeeds, they succeed. So that's a completely different ballpark. So we're excited. Like I said, we didn't even introduce the cast yet. We didn't even say who's in the cast yet, and we're already like getting calls from every which way and having people invest, and it's a wonderful thing. So you know,
oh, there she's back.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
So we're gonna go the exact same way. We're gonna, you know, see how we do in festivals and go from there.
It's amazing that whole marketing side. I mean, the amount of money spent on marketing a film, because it's just pushing out, trying to get everyone interested, versus you have all these people that have ownership.
Exactly.
You have an army built in to promote the film. That's amazing.
Exactly. It's really to me, it's such a beautiful way. I go into my arty head and like, I'm an empath, and like, it's my, oh my God, all of us together, you know, that makes me so happy. But I do think, you know, creating something beautiful and making money can coexist. It doesn't have to be one or the other. So
but Jeff, you're also making a really great film. I mean, you didn't talk about it. It's a mafia film that takes place in the 90s in Staten Island from a woman's perspective. I mean, the script is fantastic.
That is a whole other thing, you know. But unfortunately, just like these conversations, it becomes less about the story and less about the, you know, that's what happened when I took it out. People loved the story, but the next question was, who's the male lead? And it was like, we forgot about the great script. So unfortunately, this becomes the conversation. Think how frustrated I am, because I worked for 20 something years. And I know what I have. I know it's a beautiful story, and I know what I can make of it, and I know what it's going to be. But I've had to have the conversation of money and making people believe for two and a half years now. And that's short. That's on the short side. So many artists, filmmakers who are trying to get their stories told, forget it. Sometimes takes 10 years if it ever gets made.
Well, you're gonna change that, where it's going to be about the craft. You're going to pave the way so that the next person can just press the button, right? And so it's going to be simple. So can you tell us a little bit about the film? Like, what can you tell us and not give? Yeah. Of
course, yes. No, it's like I said, you know, it's that scene you've seen in every single mafia movie where the guys are sitting at the table and they're eating something and the light is overhead and they're smoking cigars and they're planning something, and there's always some woman in the back either bringing food or lurking. The story is about that woman. The story is about those women that keep the house, that keep the secrets, those women that are struggling for any kind of voice and wondering, how did I wind up in this life? And you're born into it, that's a completely different thing. And that's where the story starts. It's following two young girls, not knowing, and then finding out that their father is in the mafia and what he does for a living, and whether or not you actually have a say in your life. So yes, it is a mafia genre and all of that, but it's really about finding your voice in a world that tells you to be quiet.
And that was going to be my next question: is why write this story? What inspired you?
It's growing up and seeing females around this world, and me not being in this world and thinking, wow, glad I'm not in that world and I can't leave. And when I did leave and did go out and did pursue my dreams, I realized I actually was in that same world, still wanting to be heard and wanting to be, treated equally and not put in a box. And I thought, we all were either born into it or placed in it somehow. We're put into a place, a box, and whether you choose to break free of that, and how that struggle, and what is that struggle, and if you're brave enough to do so. So that's in essence what it's about.
Wow.
Lovely.
When do you think this gets made and out there? I want to go myself to one of these festivals and go watch it.
Yay, I would love it. Well, we're really pushing for January. We're moving. Like I said, we're announcing one of our cast today, and that's really exciting. And little by little, we're going to keep announcing the cast. And yeah, so we film January.
Wow, that's soon. Exciting.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Exciting.
Good luck.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate the time here.
Yeah. And so is funding done on everything here, or like people can still get involved? Like if you guys hit a cap, can you go higher?
No, they can still get involved. And the NFTs, listen, once we hit the 3.5, that gets closed. But the NFTs are there and open. And as we go forward, and Mark can explain this better, whereas someone may have bought in already and say then it closes at 3.5, someone who feels like they missed out can come and say, hey, I want to buy in, and someone can trade their
Straight up.
Yes, exactly. But also remember, we're going to be putting out NFTs while we're on set. And that's something that's never been done. So we can have a great scene, and we have an amazing photographer come and take some pictures, and we can have another NFT, so people could follow this along the entire road, the entire journey. Did I explain that correctly?
Yeah, no.
Perfect.
And then Mark, just before we go, can the people that have gotten involved in this, can they communicate on your platform together? Like, do they get put into a group together where they can start to kind of become a part of the community?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's fan engagement that's designed. It will have the ability when the offering closes, where Jen will be able to communicate with everybody right off set. Fans can communicate with each other. It's really, and that's again, the power of the blockchain. It's not a stagnant black and white stock market. It's a stock market supersized with integration and communication, and being able to be a part of it all. And being able to connect back with the celebrity. And it's not a situation where the celebrity is going to take the money and disappear. It's going to be a situation where the celebrity, in essence, or the film, or whoever it might be, is the CEO, and the CEO communicates to the shareholders. The beauty also of what the app, and we encourage you to go and download it and look at it and play with it. It has the ability to vote at shareholder meetings. It has the ability, as I said, to see audited financial statements and disclosure and other bits of information to make those decisions. So it's not this opaque, I guess you want to say, anonymous world. It is still anonymous in the sense that to the rest of the community, nobody knows, but to you as a shareholder, you will know, and the company will know about you. And that's the reward that both sides get to have.
Wow. Mark, it seems like there's so many different models that could come out of this. Are you seeing some real innovation in terms of not just like, hey, now we can fund this way, or like now there's dividends? Are you seeing that there's just something just mind blowing that's come across your desk that someone wants to do?
Absolutely. So the beauty and I keep repeating myself when I say it's a stock market, it is, which means that we can create really innovative instruments in a compliant manner and sell them legally around the world without violating local securities laws. Each jurisdiction has its own rules. But because of the blockchain, we all know about the metaverse and what's coming. We're able to sell almost like a bond, and this is an offering we have coming out, where using the power of the blockchain, the investors get 15% of the gross revenue that's all transacted within the metaverse. So as people are buying things, revenue is stripped out immediately and distributed as dividends on a monthly basis. So it's a participating capability where you're a part of the company and being able to get those returns. The other thing that we've been able to create, and I guess we're kind of saying it right now before the rest of the world knows about it, is we've been able to take US securities that are traded on the US market or Canada or any of the other markets and take a traditional share of common stock and tokenize it. And because we're a national securities exchange, those shares can now trade in our market. So we've created the ability for a global investor to access traditional equities using cryptocurrency. So you said it, Joe, where you have all this money that has been created through this whole crypto boom, but now there's the ability to take that crypto alternative assets and invest it in traditional equities. That, I think, is really the future. That's what we've been able to create. You'll see it coming soon.
Yeah, I like that. And I like, you know, it's like each one of these NFTs that's created for your movie here. It's like, I mean, now you're saying like, where do we go stream this? Right? It's like, well, everyone should have their own token, individual token, that they should be able to log into some sort of streaming service that they can only watch. So it solves the password problem for Netflix. And it also makes everyone feel special that they're the ones that have this, and no one's going to go share their private keys around. You know, it's like, they're not going to do that. And so that is super interesting. I don't know, maybe John and I
we're doing it. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
It's a utility. It's a key. It's a ticket. Yeah, and if you look at the Fresh Kills website, you're going to see that the NFTs some of them are these beautiful things of art, as Jen mentioned, from this amazing artist. But other NFTs it looks like a ticket, and it's an access, and it gets you the ability to see the film. It gets you unique access. It gives you privilege to be able to see things that other people don't get to see.
And then as an accredited investor, is there a minimum and maximum, since, you know, like with 3.5 million, are you guys trying to kind of divvy that up with 25K or 50 or 5?
No,
or how does that work?
So the traditional accredited investor minimums that you just rattled off, the 25 to 50K, that's the way traditional offerings are done here, but we've democratized it, made it as little as $500.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's truly, you know, Jen had this vision of making it available to everybody. Unfortunately, with the U.S. securities laws, the reason we're even able to talk about it is the law changed to allow what's called general solicitation of private placements, but you still have to prove accreditation. Right. So outside the U.S., anyone over the age of 18 can buy and sell and have immediate liquidity. In the U.S., you have to be accredited. But Jen's idea with integrating the NFTs, anyone can buy. Doesn't require you to be a U.S. or foreign, accredited or not. It's open to all.
On those dividends that get issued, do those have to be cash dividends? Could you have like an NFT dividend? Is there an access dividend? Is there other forms of dividends that could take shape?
In theory, it could be, yeah. To begin with, though, it's cash. People like to see cash returns, and then they can use that cash to buy other things. I don't want to get down in the weeds, but then you have whole KYC, AML, all these other sites that are out there. You know, be warned, it's not an if, it's a when regulation comes. So that's one of the advantages that we have in working with Jen, is that she knows that investors that participate don't have to worry about an exchange getting shut down because of doing some nefarious activities.
Yeah, last part, Mark, with that was interesting, where you said, you know, in the US, you need to be accredited, you know, make at least $200,000 for a couple of years, be net worth of $1 million. But everyone around the world can participate if they're 18 or it's like, so we're keeping our people, you know, I'm not going to go down that route, but it's interesting.
With you, believe me. That's
Listen, as a guy,
everyone. So everyone can benefit and get involved. You know, everyone with $25.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yes.
Cool. Well, Mark, Jennifer, John, you guys, awesome. Thank you so much. I'm excited. I'm going to go be a part of this right now. So I'm super stoked. But thank you guys. This is awesome. Like whenever you want to come back on, whatever you guys are working on, let us know. This is exciting. I'm glad you guys brought this to our audience. And it was a pleasure. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brent.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Appreciate it.